Greetings and welcome to Channel Otherdoc. I'm Jim, I use he, him pronouns, and this is the premiere of our short campaign of Casket. This is an occult western game by Enger that's set in the end times and is powered by the apocalypse. I'm very much looking forward to this because it hits a number of my buttons, as it were, so I'm very interested in seeing how this goes. We're gonna go ahead and go around and introduce everybody. We will start with Alyx. Hello.
Hello. I am Alyx Wolf, pronouns they, them. Thank you, Jim, for having me back on the channel. Very excited to explore the occult West with you and all of these wonderful people.
Me too. And now let us head over to Kestrel. Hello.
Hey, I am Kestrel. I'm really excited to get to play the game in general, but especially because it's powered by the apocalypse, and I've only done one of those as a one-shot before, so I'm looking forward to digging into it for a few sessions and seeing what it's like.
Awesome. Very glad to have you. It's powered by the apocalypse stuff. I always like to try to take time with because it deserves it. Dagnabbit. But now let us move on to a new face on the channel, Kenny. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me, Jim. Appreciate it. I have no experience with Casket and I've only played Powered by the Apocalypse once recently, but I'm looking forward to it, especially since the setting is right up my alley. So.
Awesome. Yeah. No, that's I'm always into weird westerns, so that's so I was very keen on this one when I saw the Kickstarter, and so I'm very much looking forward to exploring it. And now let's move on to another new face to the channel, Marlo. Hello.
Hey, my name is Marlo. I use she, her pronouns, and I am excited to be here because I too have never played a Powered by the Apocalypse system game, so I am excited.
Wow, awesome. And now, well, I mean, tell you, it's very. We do a lot of PBTA on this channel, so it's always very pleased to introduce folks to it. And now, finally, over to Joel. Hello.
Hello. I'm Joel Kensel. Pronouns are he, him. I'm looking forward to giving this a try. I've played a number of Powered by the Apocalypse games, and I always like to see how people customize for the settings and get the different flavors. So that's really kind of what I want to see. That, and this just sounds, Casket sounds so unpleasantly macabre, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, me too. Awesome. But before we dive in fully here, just as a reminder, like we do with most games on this channel, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. If we hit something that's crossing a line for one of us, any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, or make an X symbol, and we'll back up and we'll do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom chat, and we'll fade to black on it, or we'll put it behind a veil, so it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. And finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going anyway, we can put an O in the chat to let us know we're okay and that we're all good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we're moving into a difficult topic, or if we say or we do something and then think, maybe that might have been a little too much, then everyone else can respond to that again with an X, an N, or an O to let us know if we're still doing okay. And now, we shall descend into Casket and see what mysteries it holds. And the cool thing about it, the really is that we're going to be pretty much just sort of building it up. We're going to be building our own, what they call a manifest, in Casket. It's meant to be a very short sort of scenario. So it's meant to be something that, I mean, they typically, they say it's usually like a one session type deal. But again, like I say, with Powered by the Apocalypse, I like to take a little time, and I also looked at all the materials and I thought this could actually go for a few sessions. And so I want to kind of try that and see where it takes us. But I've got some things that I want to kind of get into here that will sort of help us with our world buildery, I'm actually going to pull out a deck of playing cards in Roll20 also, just in case we need it in a moment. There is a tool that I will be using shortly that primarily, up until this point, I have only used with Savage Worlds, but I have realized it is actually a thing that I can use with anything. And so I'm going to be doing that possibly shortly. Let me go ahead and make sure I have the background tie document thingy that I like to use for that, just so that I've got that available. Yeah, there's a thing that I took and did a development on the Savage Worlds interlude system that I've turned into a thing that causes character relationships to happen. And so it's a little bit different. I've got my own sort of little table here that I look at, but it's only really to fill stuff in if need be. So, first off, let me describe a little bit. But before we even get into that in and of itself, I'm gonna read out the intro here, as written by Loam, from the Journal of Loam, Wrapped Madmen of the Northern Hill. Oh, first the sun beat down and took our water, the wind came and turned our soil to dust. Then darkness fell, and the monsters crawled up from the depths. All that was left to do was salt the earth, and lo, we did. Nothing lives here now. It is nothing but Casket Land. And it also, is by way of introduction, says Casket Land centers around a dying and drought-ridden town cut off by hills, canyons, mines, monsters, and rows of caskets unearthed by the brutal winds as far as the eye can see. You are not a valiant hero, you are the kind of human who could eke survival out of the end times. And that's very much what this game is about, survival. Folks start this game, each character starts this game with a canteen with 3 days worth of water in it. And that's it, as far as what they have for subsistence. Generally, I mean, the different characters have different things, but that's the water. It's a pretty significant thing. So, as we're kind of getting in here, let's go around and talk about the characters a little bit. I know that everyone was kind of in different places with where they had their characters. I think actually everyone might have their character names and stuff together by this point. And if that's the case, awesome. I'll be those will be appearing on the overlay next week. But for now, yeah, let's go ahead and go around and go into a little bit more detail about the characters everyone's going to be playing, and just sort of the things about them. And also, I may ask questions as this process goes on, and one of my rules generally is anyone may ask questions as this goes on. And of course, if no one's required to answer these questions, or you can answer them however you like. But mostly these are like prompts. But we're going to once again go back around, same order we introduced everyone, and start with Alyx. So who are you playing?
I am playing Tony Moon, pronoun she, they, and Tony is a barber.
Excellent. What do you want to tell us a little bit about Tony Moon? Any details you've come up with at this point?
Oh, yeah, I can read you the little blurb that I wrote.
Sure.
Tony Moon is a femme Sweeney Todd. Tony wears worn-out clothes that look like they were scavenged from a mansion that burned down at the turn of the century. There's always a bit of blood on them. Most people leave my chair unscathed, but every once in a while a patron disappears. Townsfolk whisper that I have dark appetites. Why don't you sit for a cut and a shave and we'll talk all about it.
Excellent. Good. Delightful. Well, that tells us many things. Awesome. Now let's go ahead and head over to Kestrel. Tell us about who you're playing.
I'm playing Amelia Bird. She is a drifter outcast. Pronouns she, her. She goes by they occasionally. Kind of depends on the day and her mood. She's an outcast who trying to just kind of carve out her own path, wasn't too accepted by the people she was around, left, thought she found a couple people she could connect with, and found herself pulled into a cult, which she then got out of when she safely could. And now she wanders around, exploring the lands and hoping to find maybe some people she can connect with who aren't part of the cult.
Ooh, nice. Do you have any this is going to sound like a strange question, probably, or at least it will to me. Why were you not happy in the cult?
Well, it's just they seemed like other people who didn't quite fit society, so maybe they could kind of connect and hang out and get along with each other's differences, and they were only accepting of their own sorts of differences, and not too happy with people who didn't quite fit their mold, even though it was different than polite society's mold. And it was kind of creepy and controlling. Not the best environment.
Yeah, totally. Okay, cool. Excellent. Let's go ahead and head over to Kenny and tell us about the character you're playing.
I'm playing Randy Ducks Hillier. He's a gambler who hasn't won at anything in life. He was diagnosed with consumption or tuberculosis at 15, and he's been battling it since then. He got the nickname Ducks for his admiration and propensity to play pocket twos in poker badly, but he always plays them to the end. So they call that hand Ducks, and he's been given that name whether he likes it or not. His consumption was so bad that he prayed to the god of gambling to that he said he still had life living. He needed a big score, and if he saved him, every decision going forward that had any consequence, he would decide through chance. And since then, he's been cured, or that's what he'll tell you at least.
Nice. I'm just kind of curious. Any thoughts on where Ducks learned about the god of gambling?
He actually prayed to Hermes from Greek mythology. He had read some stories about the winged ankles and him flying and being a sickly child. He always was drawn to stories like that.
Oh, nice, excellent. That's very cool. All right, and now over to Marlo. Who are you playing?
I am playing Angie Black. She is the barback at the local bar. I mean, I assume if there's a barback character, there's a local bar. And she has a murderous gaze and is definitely, she wears the typical saloon girl clothes. She's very fair, but anybody who underestimates her is likely to be met at the door of the bar with a knife in her hand. She does not deal well with people walking out on their tabs. She is famous for saying, "Don't call me Angela or I'll gouge your eyes out with a blunt object." And she is just a fiery young woman.
Awesome. So do you own the bar, or does someone else own the bar?
Own the bar, yeah, I would say.
Cool. I have to wonder, and it's okay if you don't know the answer to this right now.
Sure.
But do you have any thoughts about why she does not like being called Angela? Was there a specific thing that happened that caused that?
Yes. Her mother did not make it when she was born, so her father named her after his wife, who died, and he does not... he was not a very kind man, but he always called her Angela. And she did not appreciate it.
Okay, excellent. Interesting. I'm now curious what happened to him, but
You got a haircut.
that's entirely possible. Interesting. Very interesting. Cool. Okay, and Joel, who are you playing?
I am playing John Lazarus, miner. He was just, one of those scruffy guys in town that nobody ever paid much attention to. Lazarus may or may not be his real last name. He was one of the guys who was working in a reopened mine that everybody thought was, seriously, why are you going in there? But the Sorrow's Pit just keeps drawing people back in. And once again, it collapsed. And everybody was trapped inside. And everyone pretty much assumed John was dead, and they sold and took all his stuff. And about 3 months later, he came crawling back out of the earth. Back to town, covered in dirt. Tends to stay a little dirty. Seems like the dirt moves when you're not watching. But has failed to die.
Wow, okay. That's impressive. I just have to wonder, how he survived for 3 months in the mine.
Cannibalism.
Do you have food
Most
down there?
people don't really ask those questions, because usually the answers kind of creep them out. Because you start going into first we lost the lights, and then the air turned foul, and then this guy quit talking, and then this guy quit talking. But somebody was bringing in jerky. And eventually when all the voices and all the lights and all the air were finally gone, John was just down there waiting, and then new voices came.
Oh, that's so good.
I'm not rooming with him.
Okay, interesting. Very interesting. All right. So that's... Do you still hear any of these voices by any chance?
Oh yeah. The Earth has things to say. It's just very hard to tell what it is.
Excellent. Awesome. I'm already sensing a vibe that is in some ways that there are certain similarities you get with parts of Apocalypse World too, because there is the whole idea of communing with the psychic maelstrom, and we've got a few characters who seem to be in tune with other things to an extent, and I like that a lot. Okay, so what am I doing? Let us start. The plan. Look at the plan, Jim. There it is. Okay, so your characters have history with each other to an extent. Does not have to be a long history necessarily, but some history or other. So the way that I generally do this is each of you has a link that you may throw at another character, basically, and to kind of sort of define how you know each other. And then I can, if we need it, or if we would like to, I can draw a card that we'll interpret to help us further define a thing that happened. As kind of a prompt for that. So once again, we'll just keep going the same order. I'm going to go back to Alyx.
Hello.
Who would you like to have a connection to?
I know it was a bit of a joke, but I kind of, if you're open to it, Angie, I was kind of feeling that.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I think that's good. I think
Yeah.
that's
Nice. So, I was, the thought is, how do you know each other? But,
Well, maybe, I don't know when Angie's father, how old you were when he died, but if we grew up in the same area, perhaps. I mean, I've always been like this. I didn't become this. Nothing terrible happened to me. I've always just been that weird kid. And so maybe this was the first time I killed someone as a favor to someone who I'm like, oh yeah, you're a friend, sure, no big.
Yeah. And that's like started the train. It's just going now.
Yeah.
first
I like
blood.
that. I like that. I can imagine Angie just being like so upset, but she just can't bring it, because he raised her, right? But
Yeah.
she can't bring herself to kill him and to kill him herself. And she's like, hey, this is really bad. And she's like, I'll take care of it.
Yeah, and Tony's just like a little sociopath here. Oh, no trouble at all. I have time on Saturday. I'll take care of this. No worries. Tell him he can come over for a free haircut.
So do you two go to the same Murderers Anonymous group?
Must.
I mean, that's only if one wants to recover from being
Right.
a murderer. And, how else am I going to get protein if... Well, anyway.
It's important. Protein's important.
The meat pies they sell down in the bar are not so innocent.
We're really known for our sausage links.
There you go.
I'm a vegetarian.
Anyone who is not a vegetarian may become one shortly after visiting such place. Nice, very nice. Okay, cool. Let me see what else. What's next? I think that probably is well defined enough. Unless you would like another thing to have happened, in which case I will draw a card. How do you feel?
I think that's good.
That's a very
good.
solid connection. So I don't feel as though. I think that's good. So we're gonna move on then to Kestrel's character. It was Amelia, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Who do you want to throw a connection at?
I think if it was okay to double up here, she also would have connected with Angie.
Sure.
Thinking she would have walked into town, gone to the local bar for a drink, and kind of connected with this another tough woman out here, like surviving on her own, and would have kept going back and had somebody to talk to.
Cool.
So I know, like,
Stereotypical bartender sort of thing. Just go start sharing your troubles.
I know, like, a lot of times with cults and stuff like that, the idea is that you've given up your worldly possessions. So would she have had a place to stay at that point?
No, and being a drifter too, she just kind of is without any sort of connection at this point because she just sort of left it all behind.
Well,
She left one place, went to another, found the cult, left that place, so now she's just cut off from everything.
What if Angie offered her a room to stay in without charging her for a period of time?
That'd be good.
She can see it in her that she's a transient. She's someone who doesn't have anything and has obviously left a terrible situation. There's something going on with her. So she's like, "Hey, do you need a place to stay?"
That sounds great.
She's a murderous gal with a heart of gold.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Nice, excellent.
Don't let that get around. People start going digging for that.
That's definitely a thing.
Mhm.
Excellent. Okay. Cool. Let me see here. Again, I feel like that's a pretty. I feel like that's a pretty solid connection that's sort of that's there. I just want to think about something real quick. You know, let me look at this relationship sheet real quick. Yeah. No, that works. Yeah, I think that seems fine to me. And so, unless you would like me to draw a card, I think we can probably move on.
Sounds good to me.
I think we're good. Okay. So Kenny, for Randy.
He's accepted Ducks as his name, so it's whether he wants it or not. But I would say that his connection is an odd one with the miner, in that in typical Ducks fashion, the only people who owed him money from gambling were in the mine when it collapsed. So he would go and sit outside the mine and deal cards to imaginary players, wait and talk to them, thinking they could hear him while he waited. And he was there one day when John came out, to his surprise, the one person who didn't owe him money in the mine. So
Now I have a question. John, was that one of the voices you heard when you were in the mine?
Quite possible.
I would say so. I may not realize that's who it was, but
Then you hear him talking later and you realize.
oh, yeah. I know that voice.
All the talk about the river makes sense now.
Finally. Yeah, because there was not a river down there.
Yeah.
A river would have been really nice.
Yeah.
You could have either had something to drink or just drowned and been done. But no.
Well, this is an interesting question, because then if Randy helped if Ducks helped John out of the mine.
In no way did I help him. I just sat out there playing cards. I mean,
you
maybe
sat
I
out there
helped
playing
him.
cards and he heard you. Okay, so I see a potential opportunity for a thing here.
Well,
I'm
I'm
curious.
sure if nothing else, Dux was incredibly helpful in getting people to let me come back to town versus
Oh yeah, I
just
saw you come out.
showing up and having people go, it's a zombie.
That likely could have been a thing. Yeah, I feel like I might want to go ahead and draw a card here, if that's all right with you folks. Just to
All right.
have a thing that is important to you both. And so this is 10 of spades that I have drawn, and so and actually something that I kind of want to do with this setting is you can decide if this is a positive or a negative thing. But the two of you kind of had had an obstacle that you both had to overcome, sort of a shared obstacle. And so who or what type of thing was this that you had to defeat in some way?
What I don't know how you feel about this, John, but what if as soon as you came out of the mine, I don't know whose luck you want to blame this on, but on our way back to town, we got caught in a dust storm, and we had to try to make our way through it to find shelter and safety to get you back to town finally.
I'm good with that.
Awesome.
Because I'm sure there's still parts of the earth that want me back.
I shared my water with you, so
That is the kindest thing I've ever heard.
yeah. That's Ducks, kind as can be.
And...
Gives away money every time he plays cards. So.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Awesome, excellent. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and now head over back over to Marlo for Angie. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I probably gave ducks a few gold
sorry.
teeth when I came out of the mine.
Oh,
It was, some recompense for the debts.
Oh, for the debts of the dead miners, I get it.
Yeah.
were they your teeth?
No. I can't afford gold teeth.
Just curious. Awesome. Excellent. Okay. All right. So, was there anything else about this relationship you wanted to hammer out before we move on?
Nah.
Okay. And again, we can continue developing it. Just because we come to the end as we're talking doesn't mean we can't continue doing it more, further on. We can jump around as much as we like. But Marlo, what about Angie? Who do you want to forge a connection with?
So I'm gonna say Angie will often, after Dux has gambled away all of his money, will give him a drink or two at the end of the night, just to, kind of ease the loss of the evening.
That seems like something he probably needs often.
That works. Were there? Do you have any thoughts about anything further, or would you like me to draw a card?
Well, I had sent a message over saying that maybe Angie, because she has a thing about her name, is the only one that calls him Randy.
Aw.
That's cool.
I like that.
That's nice. No, that's cool. And that's cool. It's sort of a little thing. If you folks would be okay with it, I'm thinking about just drawing a potential prompt. And like I say, we can reject it if it's
No,
not
yeah,
good.
I
I was thinking about that.
Prompt away.
Okay, so this is clubs. Tragedy. So you had some sort of there was a personal tragedy or misfortune that was that you might have shared, or that one helped with the other, and so someone got into trouble, and you both had to get out of it, or had to or one had to help the other out of it. Either way, what do you think?
What do you think about Ducks finally got to pay you back for those drinks? The one time where he actually had a winning night, you had either some bills due or had to pay off, a protection racket, whatever it may be.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah. It's like he pulled out all the stops because he knew she needed some funds.
Yeah,
to take
he
care of
actually
something.
won. Maybe he does know how to play cards. You know?
Okay.
I love that.
Cool. Let me see here. Just want to check on something real quick. Just as far as our timing goes here. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and head over to Joel. And so for John, who do you want to? Who would you like to lob a relationship of some kind at? A character connection.
Well, let's see.
History.
I would think I would probably get along with Amelia in that she's lost all her family and all her cult and all her people. And so have I. We're both leftovers.
Yeah, that's a big thing to connect over.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's good.
And I kind of suspect, or I kind of think it would just be fun if, let's see, if Tony was pretty sure she had meant to kill me once. And it just didn't quite work out.
I like that.
Oh my, yes. And when you came back to town, I just kind of go, wait, what? and it's a very calm, like, And we talk, and it's the one thing we don't talk about, but we talk.
Well, I need to know more about this, and I will ask about that in a moment. First, though, just with respect to John and Amelia, did you have any other things, or I was thinking I should probably draw a card just to see if we can get a thing going of some kind, unless you have a thing. He said vaguely.
No, go ahead.
All right. Cool. This is another club. So there was something. So in this potential scenario, Amelia and John both encountered, or one or the other encountered some kind of personal tragedy or misfortune. That got into trouble of some kind, and either both got into trouble and had to get out of it, or one got into the trouble, the other had to get them out of it. What do you think? Would that does that stir anything?
What kind of trouble might you get into, Amelia?
I think I would have, let's see, kind of new to town, and found and connected with Angie. Maybe one of the former cult members I knew was coming through, and I was trying to get a distraction, trying to just get away from wherever I was when I saw this person. And I don't know, I could have tried. Maybe I was walking by and asked you to go distract that person, or anything that everybody could work with.
I could see me saying something along the lines of, is this someone from your cult? And if you'd said yes, I'd say, I'll let someone from the mine take care of it. And you and I can go off. And that cultist will be gone.
Sounds good.
So one of the things the miner can do is just bring up a dead miner buddy once a fight.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Wait,
That
what?
sounds cool.
Yeah, I can bring up one of the other miners, one of the other guys who died, once a fight, and just have a kind of a zombie pal with the same stats and whatnot as I have.
Oh, nice.
Was that the aspect you chose, or is that just base for the miner?
That is base for the miner.
Holy crap! Okay.
All I could do is hurt myself. I'm confused.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's once a day, not once a fight.
Once a day. Okay. Still. Still. Let me make a zombie once a day.
You're never alone when the earth is beneath your feet.
I keep imagining.
Ever.
Yeah, never. It's kind of like, I feel like this maybe ties into the voices in some way, where like, because I remember you're talking about, the voices of the miners stopped and then you heard the new voices. And I just have to wonder if there's like a thing where that process is done by like putting one of the new voices into one of the bodies or something like that, or if you just, it's like.
I'm not a thinking man. I'm a man of action.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm willing to believe that's how it works.
I don't know. So they just basically, you call them and they show up? Is that kind of how it works?
That's it.
Okay, cool. I feel like going over the abilities might be good too. But this is a thought. No, that's very cool. Okay, excellent. So then you also have wanted to do a history with Tony, which is good because I was going to ask someone to also do something with Tony. So, what? Any particular reason that Tony wanted to kill John at some point?
So
or?
I've been thinking about this since John said this, and I realize my first connection with Angie. Angie knows that I will kill for a fee, as a favor, barter system, if you will. Like it's really no trouble for me. Sometimes I eat parts of them, sometimes I don't. But maybe someone hired me for whatever reason to kill John. You figure out why someone wanted you dead. And I thought I did. And then you ended up back in that mine. And then you came back. And now I'm second guessing a lot of things. And it also got me thinking that maybe at one point, to make good on some debts, I was also approached to kill ducks. But then ducks convinced me. Yeah, but ducks convinced me to respect the flip of a coin. And the coin saved your life.
First time for everything.
Uh-huh. And maybe Amelia also is aware of this fact, and whether or not Amelia would want me to kill some of the cultists if they became difficult. But since Amelia and Angie are so close, Angie would have shared this knowledge with Amelia that I can make your problems disappear.
I would say Amelia'd probably be sort of like, maybe just leave them be. But then she sees one show up in town, and then she's got this question of, well, was it coincidence? Are they after her, trying to find her and bring her back because she got away? So that would get the wheels turning, and she might start considering it.
So, to the original connection with John, I was just thinking about how maybe this is a closed circle that knows I kill people. John, why do you think someone would have hired me to kill you?
Wow, that's sort of a tough one.
Or maybe, because I mean, I could also just say, like, I was hungry and I was just going to kill you because he came in for a cut and a shave. I mean, we could go either way with this.
I was kind of thinking I was a random victim, but...
Oh, I love it. That makes it even worse, because then I have no excuse.
And I also suspect I'm the only one here who doesn't realize you just kill people.
Yes. Now, follow-up question.
It's never happened to me.
Follow-up question. Are you missing any flesh or fingers or extremities?
No.
Okay.
Interesting.
That means I did not eat you. Just wanted to check on that.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Very cool. Good lord. Okay. So yeah, we've got a nice sort of thing thing of connections here. So this is good. This is good. I'm wondering in the back of my mind. I have thoughts about a couple of setting things now, but we'll delve a little more into that in a moment.
Jim, I just want to share something that I worked out with Tony, and the crazy thing is that Ducks actually hired Tony to kill him. Ducks was just over living and over being sick, and he hired Tony, and then he had the epiphany with the god, and in order to test that revelation is why he flipped the coin to see if he should live or not.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. So, and now just to be clear, just so that I've got it clear in my head, also, I like that because then that's a very Hermes thing, too. Also, but just so that I'm clear, I've got this in my head. As for when Tony had intended to kill John before.
No,
you
let's
said
be
it was sort of
clear.
a random.
I killed John. I put John in a ditch. John came back. I'm putting this in quotes because I could have sworn John was dead. There was a lot of blood.
So this so there are a couple of things I need to quickly determine here, just so that I can understand where the pieces of reality lie.
Actually, the mine might not be the first time I came back.
That's what I was wondering.
'Cause if she threw me in a ditch, I was piled in the dirt. If I was collapsed in the mine, I was piled in the dirt. There's kind of a theme.
So it could just be that Tony killed John, and then John showed up for work the next morning, but didn't go back into town.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just didn't run into Tony at all from up until the point where the mine collapsed. Then came back. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. No. We can work that.
You know what? Just for flavor, I'll add it. I was going to eat a part of you, but then the meat seemed a bit off, so I didn't.
I can understand that.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Cool.
I won't feel rejected or personally excluded from your dinner tables.
It's good to know. So the next thing the next thing on the agenda involves connections to NPCs potentially. I was just wondering if anyone wants us to go to break for a little bit before we do that, or do we want to keep going for a little bit while we're sorting that out?
If we could do the break, I'd be obliged. If not, I may step away for a minute.
Yeah, we can go to break. That's no problem.
We'll find a jacket. It's cold down here in the basement.
Yeah, no worries, not at all. All right, folks, we're gonna take a little bit of a break, and during which I shall display an interview, and we shall return with more world buildery. We'll see you soon. Welcome to the break. Today I've got Simon here with me.
Hello.
Over there. There we go. I can't point in the right direction. To talk to us about stuff going on in Wandering DM. Hey. So tell me, what manner of shows have you got on your channel?
So many. Right now, as of this recording, we started this week a new mini campaign of Legacy: Life Among the Ruins. It's a PBTA game about rebuilding civilization after the apocalypse. I wanted something hopeful after everything that's been happening outside of the moment. So we take this A destroyed world, actually, the players chose what the end of the world event was, and it's kaijus. So it's a world that's been destroyed. Think like Pacific Rim, but they lost.
Yeah.
And what happens after? Then on Tuesdays, we have an ongoing Witcher series called Witcher Legacy. It's made in collaboration with Greg from Tales from the Grim. We're basically playing in the same world with the same background events, and the characters meet one another across channels, if you will, over the course of the campaign. And then on Thursdays, right now we are doing a Dragon Age campaign, DM'd by Cypher of Tyr. It's a very fun campaign. I had never played, like I played the RPG, the computer game, Dragon Age, but not the tabletop RPG. So it's really fun to discover the system at the same time. And we are, Scoop, beginning in May, going to start an anime game.
Ooh.
Called The Sisterhood of the Magical Sword. And I can't wait to... The characters have been made like 2 months ago. So I can't wait for it to start. And then on Friday is our Talsorian-sponsored game called Cyberpunk Red. I didn't find a proper title for it, but it is basically a sneak preview of the new edition of Cyberpunk. We're playing it right now with the Jumpstart Kit rules, and it introduces the characters and the viewers to the world of Night City in the year 2045. Then on Saturday, I cannot say at the moment, since we're going to have our finale of Vampire this very weekend. And after that, I'm taking a break of streaming on Saturdays, but I will be back in a few weeks as of this recording with something new.
Cool, awesome. And so by the time folks see this, it'll probably be, there will be a new thing out. But I have occasionally looked in a little bit on your Vampire campaign, and it's been very cool. Is that
Yep.
That's the one that Dee is running, right?
Yeah, Deirdre's running it. She's been my Saturday GM for a while now. It started with a Call of Cthulhu campaign, and then we moved on to Vampire the Masquerade, and then we'll see what happens going forward.
Excellent, excellent. Well, it's neat to see sort of these things in transition. Legacy is always a game that I've wanted to kind of sink my teeth into, and I might actually be doing at some point later on. I generally, as folks who watch this channel know, I do usually every other month is a Powered by the Apocalypse game, and so it may come up at some point. But I did look in on some of your session 0 for Legacy, and was just sort of delighted by the kaiju angle, and just very, very interested to see where that goes.
It's a new take on the post-apocalyptic genre, and I have so many ideas of like what the world looks like now after it's been trampled by these gargantuous monsters.
It's awesome. I've seen some of your some of Cyberpunk Red. That was one of their players in it, and actually also it turns out in Legacy, Anino also plays games on my channel. So it's I saw a bunch of his as he was coming out with announcements of different things, and just I think it's one of the most hysterical things in the world, the way ways he's been finding to throw commercials in different points.
Yes. Yes, he's our hype man for the Found Familiar coffee.
He actually managed to work it into one of our Invisible Sun sessions recently.
Oh, really?
Yes. It was hysterical because it was one of those. It had sort of just happened organically. It was by accident, really, as he was something weird about Invisible Sun is that for some reason every other session, practically every session is in part about dining in some way, at least in my campaign, There was this one point. He was like, "I'm just going to just sit and getting a cup of coffee," and I was just at that point I just couldn't resist. So I was like, "Okay, what brand of coffee are you using?" just sort of tumbled out. But it was just hysterical. It's just been awesome seeing kind of what you've been doing with Cyberpunk Red. Especially you had a lot of you did a lot of preview type videos for that, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm always trying new things with new shows, and I wanted something different to introduce the characters. I felt that at that point, doing like I'm doing with The Witcher, where it's like 1 week, one introduction, it takes a while to get the game going. And I had, a cast of 5 players, I think, for Cyberpunk. So I thought maybe make, and I think it's Jay at Talsorian that suggested it, making vignettes so that we could get them out every day of the week or so, the week before the premiere of the show, to announce who was going to play in it and also drum up engagement for the show. And honestly, I am thinking about doing more of that in the future. It's time consuming, but I don't know, it adds something to the show. So that and the recaps that Anino does of every episode, that is something that came completely from him, and I am actually very thankful to him for doing that, because it helps, whenever someone shows up and they're like, oh, it's a new show, what was that all about? Well, I can run the recap both, at the start of the episode and then during break, and have people get caught up on what's been happening.
Yeah, it's very cool. It is very cool. Also, just we mentioned briefly again the Witcher, your Witcher campaign. How are you handling the crossover aspect of it? If you can give us a little window into that, maybe.
Poorly. I'm trying my best. So basically, I had a chat with Greg prior to the campaign because I knew that So normally, when you want to do something like cross channels, you would like to have the same start date, more or less, so that you don't have these time traveling shenanigans if something happens. But because of scheduling, Greg started his, and because of scheduling, I had to wait for mine. So we sat down before the campaign. We established, okay, what is going to go, what are the events that kicked off the campaign? What do we what's the state of the world? What do we say? Do we take the world as is from the Witcher canon? Do we change a couple things to make sure that we both were on the same wavelength about it? And then we talked about the important NPCs from our side of the screen, not the ones that are, linked, if you will, to a character or a character's backstory, just the ones that have had an impact, like the big bad evil guy or what have you. They have an impact on the game, but they're not tied to a specific character. And then from there, I let him. Well, it's not that I let him begin. He started his campaign, and then I took notes every episode to see what would I be allowed to show or not show, because his players haven't gotten to a certain point. I didn't want. Of course, there's not going to be any metagaming between the groups or what have you, but at some point, you also want to make sure that you don't have people watching one show getting all the scoops or all the spoilers for the other one.
Yeah.
And flashback sequences were very helpful for that, to cement the relationships between certain characters in their past.
Neat. And I understand you've already had a little bit of with characters crossing over, haven't you?
Yes. Well, yes, myself mostly. As a player, I mean, with back when I was on a show on Off the Table and Scraticus Academy, we played Lady Blackbird, and Kiena had us split into 2 factions, the Outcasts and the Imperials, with a shared backstory that connected all of us together. It was a giant trash fire of a mess. It was absolutely delightful. And one, I encourage everyone to play Lady Blackbird strongly. But the world that Kiena created, I wasn't the second season, but only on the first episode, the wedding of Lady Blackbird, and then my character acted mostly as an NPC because I had IRL stuff, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then on the third season, I came back as a sad boy, where we played pirates a few years before the first season. So it was sort of a prequel with completely different characters. But in the end, there was the reveal that, oh, this specific person that we've, ran after the whole game was in fact the main villain of the first season.
Nice. Very cool.
I think I spoiled everything.
Well, it's that episode's already gone out, so
Yes.
It's very cool. Yeah, I hadn't been thinking of that when I mentioned that. I was thinking of just with respect to Witcher. I think, but no, that was awesome though. That Lady Blackbird setup. I watched a lot of that, and there was a lot of drinking in this campaign.
Yes.
So, a lot of heavy duty liver work, but I was thinking with respect to The Witcher that didn't Dee's character cross over at some point recently and show up on like she's playing in Greg's Witcher campaign, and then she showed up in
she showed up in mine, and then Greg as one of the main NPC, Ezekon, who, spoilers, is dead at the beginning of his show. So his season kicks off with the burial of Ezekon, and so we see him with Gabe, who's a player in my game, and JF, who's a player in Greg's game, 100 years before the events of the game, where they happen to cross paths together. And so we already started seeding a few like connections, but they're all in the past. What I'm eager to see is those that'll happen, in the present.
That's very neat, very neat. So looking forward to that. I always get excited by shows that cross over. So it'll be neat to see where all this goes. Thank you very much for coming and talking to us about all this.
Thank you.
If folks want to find all of this gloriosity online, where should they go?
They can go onto twitch.tv/wanderingdm, or they can also find me on Twitter at wandering_DM. I post about like all the shows that I'm on, or whenever I need people for shows. I also post that on my timeline.
Excellent. All right, folks. Well, I'm going to throw things back to me or to or our background graphic, more likely, and we will see you later. We have returned. And now we're going to get into a few more things that involve slightly more direct world building. So the next thing is I just want to get a detail from each of you about, if at all possible. So there is an NPC that is significant to pretty much all of the tales that they tell thus far in this Casket land setting, by the name of Loam. Loam, what we know about him is that he is one of those beings they call a madman. He is mute. Just wanders out in the wastes. But seems to know a great many things, and seems to have, to a certain extent, the survival of, he plays some importance on the survival of humanity, it seems. So, what I'm going to ask, as Loam is probably going to be involved in this in one way or another, is one detail about something your character either knows about or has heard about this person, Loam. Let me see if there's any. As far as the madmen are considered the gaunt wanderers of the waste. They are largely solitary. They said when they gather, catastrophe falls. And apparently there's a thing where there is no known way to permanently kill them. They have a connection to something. We don't know what. So...
Are they related to John?
They might be. Well, they
I could be an intern. Ooh.
So that's what I was basically just going to ask is who wants to instead of going around now, I'm just going to say who would like to volunteer a detail. Yes. And this can be pretty much anything, and it will be worked into our version of this character.
This is a detail about Loam, correct?
Yes. Something your character has either heard about them or knows about them just from having known them, perhaps, if you want.
I've heard that they've never been seen to take a drink of water.
Okay.
Mine was going to be connected to water too, thinking maybe while on the run from the cult, trying to escape and come to our town here, I ran into Loam on the way, kind of lost and wandering, sort of barely still surviving, and in need of water. And Loam seemed to know where to point me. And then talking to people since, heard that that's just kind of the way Loam is. Always seems to know where water is, even perhaps if he doesn't drink it.
Awesome. Excellent. Cool.
I like it.
I would like to think that Loam put in a statement against letting people go back into Sorrow's pit. Probably more than once. And it may be too much of a stretch for you based on the way he gets used, but I'd kind of like to be able to hear him.
I think you believe you hear him.
I'm
hear
good
something.
with that.
Sold.
I have a thought. Does anyone have any problems with snakes? Okay.
In real life, yes, but in game.
In game? Okay, just wanted to check. So I was thinking that snakes are common in Casket Land, but perhaps there are a handful of snakes that they tell rumors of, and that these snakes, they move beneath the sand, and you can just see their heads a little bit above water, like almost like they're swimming in the sand, like they're holding their head above water, but they're moving through the sand that way. And when the rest of their body becomes visible, you notice that they have decayed, and you can see some of their spine and some of their decayed flesh. And when you see one of these, you know it is a snake of Loam, and that Loam is either interested in you, coming for you, marking you, but to see this snake is to know that Loam has eyes on you. But because most of the snakes move a little bit below the sand, unless you manage to get it above the sand, you have no idea if it's a normal snake or if it's a snake of Loam. So all snakes are just kind of avoided like the plague.
I like that. Very cool. Very cool.
I was gonna say that rumor has it that the day of Angie's birth, Loam visited her mother.
Interesting. Oh, nice. That's good. That's very good. Cool. Awesome. Okay. Excellent. I shall put those into the I shall put those into the Rube Goldberg machine of background generation, and come up with terrible things. So the next thing on the agenda has to do with memories to an extent. I'm calling them here. It's really more, these are kind of details, points of interest, but I'm referring them to more as memories, as things more of the past, because things are kind of desperate now. And everyone has only three days of water left. But everyone has a memory of something or someone in the town that they felt personally connected to. And so what I'd like to from each of you is a memory, and it doesn't have to be a long drawn out memory. It can be like a little brief thing. It can be like a less than one sentence thing, if you like. But what is the thing that if someone were to ask you about life in the town, it can be a person or a thing that sticks out in your memory. And again, whoever wants to go can go.
There used to be a church until the caskets, because the caskets like popped up out of the ground. That's the whole narrative, right?
Yeah, it's hard to know where the caskets came from. We could decide that, absolutely. At this point, the caskets are there. But before the caskets, there was the church. That works out.
Yeah, now it's like the caskets have either separated us from it, or they destroyed the church.
Oh, nice. Like they just sort of erupted. I kind of like the image of these caskets just surfacing and ruining the foundations of this church. So like the ruins are still there, but it's no longer it was no longer a livable structure.
Right.
That's cool. I love that. That's another thing interesting about the caskets just in this setting, is apparently there is something in there, and I've got to go back and reread, but where it's like there's either a move or a thing about going and opening one of the caskets and seeing what's inside. So it's yeah.
That seems unwise.
I might do it. Depends on what the die says.
Who knows? Who knows? Awesome. Okay, who else?
I kind of like the three big poles that are kind of connected, sort of downtown, that used to be the base of a water tower that they were starting to build for when they thought the railroad was going to come. Because, they kind of give me both the same. They give me at the same time that feeling of, hopefulness we used to have. Things can get better. We might get new stuff. We're going to build this water tower. But it also gives you that crushing sense of despair, because not even the skeleton of the water tower remains intact. It just has a few bones left. And I just kind of like to sit around there and feel melancholy.
You are the life of the party, John.
I am, buddy.
In so many ways. He can have a party whenever he wants to. That's the thing. Excellent.
If you ever need a fourth for bridge, Ducks, let me know.
What's awesome is when he supplies a third and fourth for bridge.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And who else has a memory?
I have a memory of a majestic horse that was in the stable in downtown. And whenever I would lose, which was most nights, I would go to the stable and spend time with that horse and talk to it like it was my friend. And, you know, commiserate over the awful luck I've had. And then one day I went there and the horse was keeled over dead.
Is that the horse behind you?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I'm so glad you brought that full circle.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that horse. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're not going anywhere with that horse.
Yeah.
Anyway. Oh my god. Wow. Okay.
So that horse, that poor, the Buttercup was the name of the horse. Whenever I'm sad, I think of Senor Buttercup.
Oh, wow. Nice. That's really good. All right.
I envision the bar, like everybody kind of knows that's where you go if you need something, because you'll come away with something that you needed. Whether it's you needed somebody to off somebody for you, or you need a place to stay, or something bad happened and somehow you end up connected with somebody you need. So it feels like this place where Casket's in town. Who knows what's coming? Maybe we'll at least be safe there, or at least find something we need.
So it's looked on by everyone as kind of a place of safety. Cool. I wonder if there's something where people are almost attached to some sort of mystical significance to it. Because there's no more church, so.
Right. It's the new gathering place. It's the new place for like what's the word? Fellowship.
Yeah. And maybe you feel like maybe there is something mystical to it, and you're not quite sure. Is it actually something deeper, or is it just this is something I find comfort in? Not quite sure which it is.
Nice.
But I like to sleep in the cellar because it's one of the only really quiet places where you just don't hear anyone. And that's nice.
It is, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure you're harrowed. I just.
Doing okay there, Jim?
Sorry, forgive me. You ever have one of those moments when you feel as though you're suddenly having a thing that could possibly be an inside joke, but you're not sure if it is? But you're thinking, my God, everyone must think I'm crazy laughing at this right now. That's hysterical, and it just builds. That was what that was, just a moment ago. If I remember, I'll explain it off when we're off camera later. It's one of those things, but probably not as significant as I think it is. Who knows? But all I'll say right now is Joel possibly knows why I'm laughing. Anyway. So, are there, So, Alyx, do you have it?
Yes.
Just take a second to collect
No,
yourself,
keep
Jim.
laughing. It'll be the perfect soundtrack to what I say next. Just keep at it. So similar to the water tower when the town still had hope, I remember the sheriff that still hoped for law and order and justice. I remember what the sheriff tasted like. She was delicious.
$20.
Whether or not we have a new sheriff, I leave up to y'all, but that's what happened to the one that had hope.
I don't know why, but I just have to believe you turned that sheriff into empanadas.
You know what? Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. Yeah.
I just assumed you were going to make a pun on shepherd's pie and sheriff's pie.
Just out of curiosity, when it came time to cut the sheriff's hair, to give the sheriff a haircut, was this motivated by your doing someone hiring you or asking you for a favor, or was this more just we need meat?
It was a little bit. It was a practical decision because I knew where things were headed. This sheriff wanted us to keep to the old ways where, we were, still planning for a town that would have a railroad and a regular source of water. And I knew that we could not survive that way. I could not survive that way. So I slit her throat, baked a couple of empanadas, and had some friends over for dinner.
Vegetarian.
I'm envisioning you invite Marlo brings me, and that's how I find out what you do.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like, for me, it's not a bad, it's simply just, hey, we gotta eat. There's nothing here. It's up to you.
Might as well take out the people that are getting in your way.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of tastes like pork when you stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
They call it the long pork.
It's a little sweeter than pork, but it's really good. Anyway.
Jim, how do you know?
I don't know. Wait, no, I didn't say that. Anyway. That wasn't me.
I want to
that was someone
X-card that.
else. Okay. Fair. There was... Anyway,
You went to a place that we didn't go there.
the internet is a wonderful place. That's all I will say.
Oh no, it is not.
You're right. It's not. But there was a fake site where people were claiming to sell a thing. Anyway, one day look up UFO. It was a scam apparently. All right, good. We've got town memories. Excellent. So let's see. Next, outside locations. So obviously, part of this scenario, and pretty much most Casket Land scenarios, from what I'm given to understand, has to do with a journey that has to be undertaken, so. There are, and we don't have to go to any of these places necessarily. And I also have things I can draw from the one existing manifest, which I believe is called Homestead, which I have a copy of. But just for the sake of putting things together here, I'd like to get from each of you a location, a significant location of some kind. That you've either heard about, you could have been to possibly, but just one that you're aware is apparently out there in Casket Land, amongst the caskets and the monsters and the dangerous environment and everything, somewhere outside the town. And it can be, if you want, it can be a natural feature, or it can be or it can actually be like a place. Or it can be a very small place, if need be, if you like. It doesn't have to be a big place. Things in places. And it should be one that we have not talked about yet. So the mine is out. We know the mine's out there somewhere. That's already an existing place we can draw on if we want to. But what other places are out there? That is my question, and feel free, anyone who has an answer, to answer.
I just imagine like this. I think the formation's called a butte, but it's like they call it the Rusted Butte, and it's made out of this like weird red rock, which does not look like the rest of the terrain. And legend has it that this place is a place where horrible rituals were done.
Excellent. Cool, cool.
I imagine a place out amongst some hills, kind of in this area that nobody wants to go because nobody's quite sure what's there. But tale has it that it's where they take some of the dead bodies, the ones that don't end up in the graveyard. Or maybe they're people that were tortured and are still alive. I'm not quite sure. And they're reconstructed, turned into creatures that are occasionally seen at night, supposedly. Again, are they really? Is it a tale? Basically people stitched together. Maybe an arm taken off one body, stuck on another. Not really sure what's out there because nobody will go there. But people see them wandering at night, supposedly.
Excellent. Good.
Can it be someplace the character has been, or is it only places we know about?
It can be somewhere you've been.
Okay. It would be Gambler's Gulch, which is a desolate area where rumor has it if you play if you basically play a hand versus the god, and if you win, you get whatever your deepest, darkest desire is. A lot of gamblers go there when they're on the end of the rope.
Do they say what happens when you lose?
I was leaving that for you.
Okay. Maybe there's not a lot known necessarily. And you believe this is a place that Dux has been?
That's where Dux played or prayed to Hermes.
Excellent. Did you find yourself playing around with him at any point, or no?
He doesn't really talk about that.
Okay. Awesome. Who else?
So there is a place called the Bone Quarry, and it is a massive pit, what used to be a lake, and it is where all the bones in Casket Land go. No matter where you're buried, no matter if you put bones in the earth, they will make their way here. And Tony found this out when she went to dig up something that she had buried one time, because it felt like maybe people were sniffing around where they shouldn't, and then started burying pieces in different places to see what would happen, and realized that they were all moving, and walked into the desert one time and found this place, and it is just a lake of bones, and sometimes they move like there's something underneath it.
Nice. Awesome.
And I will add Fake Town, a reasonable sized town that once existed, that is still there. Nobody lives in it anymore. It's in sort of a box canyon. It's kind of a bowl shaped sort of deal. And when the geology shifted, it sloughed off a lot of the canyon walls and ended up exposing a bunch of salts and chalk. So now the whole thing is basically a solar oven that just
Ooh.
cooks the town. So it's always like 180 degrees in there, and the heat can't escape where it's in that little bowl. It's got the thermal inversion thing going, so the heat can't rise because it's trapped under cool air. And it just gets hotter and hotter. But on the upside, with all the chalk and the salt and the sun, everything's super dry. If you need a part, if you need a thing that could survive any kind of heat, it'll be in there and it'll be okay. I mean, if you can get in and out.
Yes. That is kind of the question. Interesting. That's Baketown?
Baketown.
Nice. I love it.
Nothing was happy. None of those places were good places.
That's factual.
You had your chance.
I really kind of wish one of us put like a cake shop in town or something.
I know,
Just
right?
something real normal. Too normal.
That'd be the awesome thing. It's just out in the middle of the desert. There's a bakery. Somehow it's self-sufficient. We don't understand it.
They sell bread. They're right on the shores of the Lake of Bones.
Yeah.
Don't ask where the flour comes from.
No, that's not to question that.
They cook it in Big Town.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's a very food-based game, I see.
Yeah, it's getting there. Yeah. A lot of
Just
culinary
don't
things
ask
here.
what the food is.
Now, the interesting thing is that the next one that I have is actually, we've sort of touched on that somewhat already with some of these, but we'll go ahead and do this category because it expands a little bit on some things.
Is it name locations you should never go to?
No, we're good. But this is something that I'm sort of calling legends. These are things that your character has heard about, expressed as something like a legend of some kind, and it can be about. It could be. I'm perhaps using the term legend expansively because it can be little or it can be big. It can be like about a type of monster that's out there. It can be just a rumor of something that you've heard that might apply to the town or might apply to something out there. Might apply to a casket, who knows. It could be something legendary about specific people in town, outside of town, anywhere. So just something that has formed even perhaps a small legend, at least in the mind of the of your character, as far as these things go. And it can be something you specifically don't believe, if you prefer, or it can be something you do believe. Either way. So yeah, it's just something that has got, at least as an idea, its own traction by this point. But it's, again, like a monster, a rumor, a person. Could be about a place, anything. And so who would like to go first?
I've heard that if you go out to a casket with a hand drill and put a hole in the top and then fill the casket with water and wait 3 days, the person in the casket will come back. And all the life out of the water will have moved into their dead body, and all the death in their body will have moved into the water. And so the water you drain off is a terrible poison.
I am curious where you heard this, but I have thoughts about where it came from. Sorry.
But that's just what I've heard.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
I've heard that instead of this place in the hills being people stitched back up together, these creatures are actually people that used to be human, but have somehow mutated into something else, or something happened and changed them, and they will sometimes take off their own body parts and replace them with things they've made, metal they've found, other weird random things. So you never quite know what you're going to see around those hills.
Interesting.
I gotta say, somebody coming at me with a giant cactus for a hand would scare the bejesus out of me.
I was thinking like Edward Scissorhands, or
Can't
you
run
know,
for
a huge machete for an arm.
Can't run from old Cactus Fist.
Or you know, if you can't find anything else, a cactus will work.
Every 100 years, he blooms.
There's rumors. Okay, so there are rumors that there is singing that you can hear from amongst the caskets at night. And the rumor is if you follow the singing, it will take you to water. Not some sort of weird, like, you know, mermaid that's gonna kill, like, dirt mermaid that's gonna kill you. Definitely.
No, of course not. Couldn't possibly be that.
Wouldn't be anything like that.
I'm just imagining this written out somewhere and just sort of in almost crayon at the bottom. After it said it will take you to water, and almost in crayon at the bottom, and totally not a dirt mermaid.
A sand siren, if you will.
Yes, siren. That's awesome. Sand siren, I love it.
I've heard of a not a place, nothing like that. It's something called a Jolly Lolly. That supposedly a traveling salesman that came through here, or a snake oil peddler, before all this happened. They supposedly lost it somewhere in their travels, and people claim that this lolly can quench your thirst for a week with no need to drink. And when people are desperate, they search high and low for it, but no one's ever found it.
Cool.
This is maybe more of a fact than a rumor, but instead of vultures that circle, we have jackalopes that circle.
Yeah, I like it.
They are carnivorous, and scavengers. And so when you are on your last legs and you are outside and the jackalopes start appearing in your periphery and start following you little by little, it's cute, it's a bunny. No, it is a harbinger of the fact that you are probably going to die soon, and they're just waiting to gnaw on your corpse.
For a brief moment, when you said that, my brain imagined that they flew.
You know, I was thinking like there's that eerie feeling of like having something above you, but then I thought, well, wait, no, this is a land where we're cut off. What would happen if we were cut off with the scavengers who are also monsters?
Yeah, no, totally. Totally. No, that works. No ordinary jackalopes they. Awesome. Very cool. Okay. So we're down to the last category that I have here. And the more I look at it, the more I think this might even just be something that we might not even need it really, because it's really kind of, it could be considered something just very similar to what we just did again. Yeah. I think no. The way that this is phrased, I think actually we can probably run with it. Let's try it out and see what happens. And if it goes nowhere, it goes nowhere. The last category is mysteries. And my thought is here that each of your characters, each character has a thing, a personal question, a question personal to them that they don't know the answer to, that they would like answered. There is something that, for whatever reason, they find mysterious. But that they want to look for the answer for. And it can be any number of things. Again, it can be a big thing, it can be a little thing. But it has to be, it's something that should be at least relatively important to your character, that your character wants to find out. Things your characters want to know. And once again, this can be in any order.
And certainly wants to know if the cult is still after her. Does that work, or does it need to be something more that could actually happen with the town?
That can work.
Not that couldn't, but...
Yeah, that can work. Let me see here. I am curious. Do you know what the focus, what the focus of this cult was, or anything like that?
Let's see what it says here about it. Says, and this is part of the outcast aspect. You were ostracized and thrown out, but not before learning dark and terrible rituals. So, maybe some rituals, magic of some sort. I'm imagining there's some human sacrifice. Maybe a little worried they might want to sacrifice me since I tried to get away from them.
That's something to be concerned about.
So also, if Amelia would have heard about that butte that Marlo described and the rituals that would have gone on there, she'd be kind of anxious about that. What kind of rituals are going on? Is it any connection to this cult?
That is a great question. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Cool. So yeah, anyone else have something they want answers about?
Angie wants to know why Loam visited her mother the day she was born.
Absolutely.
Dux wants to know why he keeps losing weight if he's healthy.
Okay.
All right, and y'all feel free to X-card this one if you like. But John wants to know where all the kids have gone and why nobody else seems to notice or care.
we okay with that, or do we want to put that one aside? I'm fine with it, but I just want to know if anyone else is, and then we can throw that aside.
If it's just like a town of like all the kids are gone, that's cool. So long as it's not like, you know, I want to be very clear. It's all been 18 and over that Tony has been killing and eating. So,
Yeah.
you know, just in case that was somehow a part of this.
I mean, nobody's mentioned anything remotely that entails or includes
Yeah.
children.
That's true. That is
Yeah.
unusual.
As long as they don't end up being creepy kids, I'm fine with it.
And Tony is trying to catch the jackalope that ate her toe.
Yes.
It's a harlequin jackalope, so it has like half and half coloring on its face, very unique markings. And it was when I was out, you know, coming back from the bone quarry, and I was running low on water and passed out, and I woke to something chewing on my foot. It ate my toe, and well, as a matter of principle, now I am obsessively hunting for the jackalope that ate my toe.
I
To
have
make it a
ask-
pet, or
No, it took my toe, so I must repay it in kind.
I have to ask, and I'm probably going to regret asking this, but I can't. Which toe?
You know, I did actually think about this, and it would be easy if it was the pinky toe, but I think it's going to probably be like one of the middle toes. You know, something that I'm going to miss.
A very selective jackalope. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Unless it's like, is Tony one of those people where your middle toe is longer than your other toes?
oh,
Yes, let's say yes, and now
Okay.
I'm missing one of those longer middle toes.
Okay.
now it's just like the rest of them, and that annoys you.
Yeah. And if I see this jackalope, or if I think I see this jackalope, I will drop whatever I am doing to try and catch it. I
Excellent.
never, I want to meta out. I never want to succeed. I just want to meta out there. I never want to succeed. But this is my one thing.
I'll get Acme on the line. All right, very cool. So those are all of the things I wanted to ask directly about. I think one thing though that I just want to go over that we probably would have been better to have gone over this at the beginning, but we'll do it now anyway. Is just so that we've got it in our heads, and I've got it in my heads, and we'll have it on record, so that when I go back and I watch this again in a few days, I'll be able to help incorporate stuff for story purposes. Can we just go through for each of your characters what your attack and chosen aspect is? And so that way we can, and once again, I very much encourage a type of table where we can share things out of character and not be concerned about worrying about it in character. So if we could, let's go ahead and go around. Let's go around in our usual in the order. And I'll go ahead and start by asking Alyx.
Sure. My attacks are cut to the bone. You can aim for a crucial spot on any madman, bandit, or monster you encounter. Make some rolls. Various things happen. On a fail, your own weak spots become open to your foe. And then my other attack is extraction. Your allies are able to trade you their teeth to regain hit points. 1 tooth equals 1 hit regained.
Nice.
My aspect is don't miss twice. That's the code. Line up your blade and slice it clean. Someone else's blood on the ground means you've kept all yours inside. Gives me extra attack moves and all that other fun stuff. And if I'm successful, I gain +1 vitality for myself or an ally.
Awesome.
So, question: does monster include the jackalope?
You know, I'll find out if I ever catch it.
I mean, it's a type of monster. I'd say. You never know. Okay, so Kestrel, for Amelia, what have you got?
Okay, my aspect is outcast. For that, if your enemy uses magic or rituals against you, roll plus creep on a plus 10. Just plus 10. I mean, it just means on a 10. You block their attack, or I guess 10 plus is what I meant.
Yeah, on a 10 plus.
It says plus 10, but it must have been 10 plus. You block their attack and turn it back on them with +2 harm added. On a 7 to 9, you successfully block their attack. On a miss, +1 harm gets added to the attack against you. And then for the drifter, the attack is a step ahead. Roll plus smooth. On a 10 plus, you see the route or vantage point that will cause the least amount of harm to you and your allies, if you so choose. And you gain advantage against any foes in battle. Add +1 hurt to all successful attack rolls. On a 7 to 9, you see the route or vantage point that will cause you the least amount of harm. On a failed roll, you see nothing, but no harm comes to you. And tracker, nothing walks this land without you knowing. All you need is time and something left by your prey.
Awesome. Okay, very cool. And so Kenny, what have you got?
Well, the gambler doesn't get any aspects.
Oh, okay.
Instead, they get an ability called 50-50, which every time if I use that ability, I roll a single d6, and based on my roll, there's a chart. Half the rolls give bonuses to the attack, half hurt myself. Perfect for duck. The only thing that I don't understand, it says when you use 50-50, roll creep instead of brawn, but I don't add creep to determine which attack it is, I'm guessing.
Huh. Let me take a look here.
Because that would push it out of 6, and there's only 6 choices there.
Bend, break. Scratch, gouge, bound, trap, break, bend. You're not like the others. Well, whatever might come your way. Because of this, your combat is determined by a roll of the dice. When you attack with 50-50, roll plus creep and plus brawn. It's only 1d6, and a roll determine what sort of attack you'll be able to perform. Huh. Yeah, I will go back and I'll reread that again and just sort of look over it and sort of figure it out. It seems to me that normally when you attack,
See, I could roll a possibility of an 8, so that's where I get.
Yeah. Because it looks like they're just talking about what the result becomes.
Yeah, that's only. I'm thinking that the brawn is only for the result.
Yeah.
But I wanted you to, I wasn't sure.
Yeah. I'll go back and look at. I'll go back and look it over.
And then the other ability is in the cards, where basically if I let you know that I'm using in the cards, I roll 1d6 for myself and 1 for a specific enemy, and whoever gets a higher number gets a +1 on any modifier they use for the rest of the encounter.
Okay, cool.
I already put macros for that in my character sheet, so.
Awesome. Very good. Okay, and now over to Marlo.
So my aspect is I can fill my canteen once per day.
Ooh, whoa.
And my attacks are on the rocks, so I take up to a +3 bonus when I choose to use survive. And for each +1 I use, the guide may choose to hold 1 against me later. So,
Cool.
and then irrigation. So if an ally or enemy ingests a liquid, even if it's just a drop that I have poured, I can attempt to control them. So I roll plus trick. If I get a plus 10 plus, I can control them for 3 rounds. If it's a 7 to 9, I can control them for 1 round, and nothing happens on a failure.
Huh. Interesting. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. All right, and Joel.
All right. So my attacks, so much as they're called attacks, is tension. If I suffer +2 harm in a fight, I gain +1 to all rolls and hits until the encounter is over. For every +2 hits you deal out, deal +1 hit to a member of your group.
Whoa.
Sorry. And then there is left to die. And exactly how that works, I want to talk to you about a bit about later. Left to die. Once per day, you are able to call upon the spirit of one of your comrades lost in the cave-in. They rise up and join you as an ally for the rest of the encounter, with stats the same as yours. At the end of the encounter, they disappear back into the earth. I haven't picked an aspect yet, because so many of them are using that backfire, and I just wasn't sure what that was. So,
Yeah,
the backfire is pretty much, sounds like bad things for my pals.
It does, doesn't it?
I'm seeing a theme in this game that we are not going to survive.
It's entirely possible.
Oh.
There also seems to be a lot of fighting monsters involved also in the setup for the game as well, as far as I can tell. So that may happen. But other things may or may not.
Now, I am going to be good in a fight. I got the +2 backbone and the +2 brawn. And a pickaxe and 6 sticks of dynamite.
That is a good thing. Okay. All right. So yes, and I'll figure out. We'll figure out sort of in the interim what the backfire means. As again, it's not something I recognize off the top of my head from even other PBTA games, but that might be a meaning hidden somewhere. We shall find out. All right.
Alyx,
Okay.
is backfire in Monster of the Week?
No, it's not.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't even remember it from Apocalypse World. So it's...
I'm wholly unfamiliar with it as well.
I kind of get the impression that the 2 books we have, the character sheets and that 1 rule sheet, I get the impression there's another book.
There is there is the homestead thingy. I have 1 or 2 other things I can look at.
Okay.
So I will take a look at those as well to see if they have anything further in there. I didn't see it when I looked through before, but then again, it might be in there still. I will.
I mean, things like conjure is the action listed for creep.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing in that 1 booklet that we have that talks about conjure at all.
That should at least. Yeah, we'll see. We'll figure it out, and sort of we'll sort it out. Yeah, I have also a different printing, so that there may be as once again this is a document in alpha. Things may have fallen through the cracks from bit to bit. So I will take a look. I have earlier versions I can look in as well, so I will check that out, and we'll sort those things out in the interim. But
one of our guiding principles was always no game is ever really finished, just published, because you have to accept that.
It's the Da Vinci rule. Excellent. All right. Well, that's I think gonna about wrap it up for us for today. So what we're gonna go. This is I'm very excited. I think this is gonna be make for a very interesting setup for for that which is to come. And so we've got a
Awesome.
lot of things we can kind of play with and see sort of what we are going to have happen. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is we'll go ahead and go back around and do our outros. And so folks will be able to, feel free to plug anything you like, say where folks can find you if you've got anything online you want them to find. And give any final impressions about this session and anything else you want to have, or hopes you have for what's coming up, what you're looking forward to, either way. And we will start with Joel.
I'm still Joel Kinsel. Goodbye, everyone. But I have come to really, really enjoy session zeros to the point where if I could just hang out and have session zeros and never actually play the game, I might be okay with that. So those of you who've never done something quite like this, I highly recommend it. And I do not have any cool social media presence that you want to, hop on, or nothing to plug. Do more math. That's it. Maybe some science. Read, learn things. Enjoy your summer.
Awesome. Excellent. Very good advice. All right. And now over to Marlo.
I am Marlo. Check out my Twitter handle below. That's the word for it. And I do other stuff too. So I am also on a podcast called Sins of the Father. I edit and I am a player on that show. Yeah, I am picking up one-shots all the time. So if you like what you see, come see more and follow me and find out. Thanks.
Cool. And were there any final things you wanted to say about the game?
I think it's going to be dark, and that's exactly my style, so I'm excited to be here for that.
Excellent. Awesome. Me too. All right. And over to Kenny.
Well, I would not recommend trying to find me on social media because that's going to not lead anywhere. But you can look forward to some collaboration with Alyx and I on social media soon. I'm really interested in the system. Looks awesome. I think the game is going to be dark and bleak, and that's not normal for me, so I like being outside of the comfort zone on that. And this is my first session zero. I think I'm going to use it going forward whenever possible. I highly recommend it. So.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. No. It's I do enjoy doing session zeros for this because not only does it make less work for me, but it also is I like building a thing together with people so that we can then take it and pilot it in horribly strange directions. It's awesome. Very cool. Thank you very much for coming. And now over to Kestrel.
I'm Kestrel Ray. I do cosplay. Haven't been much lately. Trying to get back into that and start a Patreon next month. Play games where I can find them. I'm going to be on probably a couple with Friends Who Roll Dice for Pride Month this month. Looking forward to that. And I really enjoyed the Session Zero thing. Trying to build us together with games to come is really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes. It will be nice and dark and creepy.
Yes.
I think the only creepy games I've played have been on here.
I may need to do some self-examination.
They've been great, though.
Thank you so much. No, that's awesome. Very, very glad to have you back and doing a mini campaign. Very cool. All right, and finally over to Alyx.
Hey, Alyx Wolf. You find me on Twitter as Alyx Wolf and whatever weirdness Kenny and I cook up one day. This is the first session zero I've done with you, Jim. I think I've only done one-shots with you, so yeah. I'm quite excited to spend a little more time with you. I feel like every one-shot we play, we wish became a campaign. Much like what Joel was saying, I could spend days, hours, weeks, months, years just making characters. Not even like building out the world, just making characters. If I never got to play this character, I still had a blast defining Tony. And I am most excited for this game to see how Tony is just destroyed, ruined. Like, I am clearly playing a horrible person, you know, who has very questionable morals. So blanket consent here to put me in the dirt at some point. Like, I need to be stopped. But I really wanted to lean into the apocalypse wasteland aspect of this. And one of the tropes is cannibalism. Like, there's always going to be someone eating someone else. And so, yeah, but I want to put that out there. I do not think that I am the hero in this story. Someone needs to stop me.
It's always interesting whenever you get a chance to play one of those characters where it's like, man, I hope someone stops me. I really do. I've gotten to do that before. It's a delight. It absolutely is. I'm very pleased to, very pleased to finally get to do a mini campaign with you. Very cool. So that leaves me. Who am I? I'm Jim. I am Other Doc on both Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I have links down below to my website, Twitter, YouTube channel, and some of my fiction and games I've been working on, along with links to game signups and applications to join our Discord. Let's see, next place folks will see me is on Thursday. I will be over on Encounter Roleplay running Deadlands Noir, Dreams of Dust that afternoon. It's a traveling circus out in the Dust Bowl, and they're in a town, and strangely there's also cannibalism in that one. Somehow that's come up again. I don't understand. But these things happen. And then Thursday night, back on this channel, is when we have our campaign of The Sprawl, run by guest MC Brian. We are actually it is for as long as we're doing that campaign. We have a pledge drive going on for the Bale Project. Which folks, if you see one of the panels down below, actually just links you to our Tiltify campaign for the Bale Project. And always feel free to pledge to donate to that if you at any time you like. But we'll be again doing that on Thursday night. Then let's see, Saturday nights on this channel I run Invisible Sun. Then Sunday afternoons, we do one-shots. The one-shot that I'm going to try to do, hopefully, if I can get everything crammed into my brain in time, that's the question, is going to be Lords of Gossamer and Shadow. That is a game that is, in some ways, folks think of it as the spiritual successor to the Amber Diceless role-playing game. It uses the same system. It's basically about very ultra-powerful beings who can traverse realities by means of a grand stair, initially. So that, hopefully we'll be doing that, and I need to actually close signups for that and cast it. That's another thing I need to get done. So many things! Why are there so many things to do? I don't understand. I need clones. That's really what needs to happen. So that's on Sunday afternoon, and then Sunday evening is our campaign of Dark Matter, Ghosts of Saltmaw, run by Alyssa. That's Ghosts of Saltmarsh in Space, which has been a glorious campaign thus far. I'm very much looking forward to getting back to it. And then on Monday nights, I am over on Salty Sweet Games playing in their campaign of Strange Invasion, Assault on the Barrier Peaks, which has been a lot of fun. I got to throw multiple fireballs at people in our session yesterday, and it was delightful. And so very much looking forward to getting back to that as well. And then, of course, Tuesday night, 1 week from tonight, more of this. So,
hurrah!
We'll kick this narrative off and see what happens. No,
Awesome.
I don't have any actual signups floating around right now. I mean, technically, I haven't gone and closed the Gossamer and Shadow signups. I'm probably going to try to do that tonight before I go to bed. I will have more signups soon. I'm kind of changing a little bit how I do the one-shot signups because I'm trying to do this strange thing where I actually allocate enough space in my brain to do things. Hasn't worked out yet, but we'll see. But one-shots are the thing I started this channel on, and damn it, I don't want to let up on them if I can help it. So, working it out. Hopefully soon we're going to have sign-ups for the game that is in some ways card-driven, called Something Is Wrong Here.
I have so many questions about how you're going to pull that off.
It's a thing. It's very difficult to do because it requires a mirror. I have seen it done online once now, though, and so I'm probably going to take some similar things where we do some creative things with Zoom, and we'll see. I am interested in doing that. So look for signups for that soon if you're interested. That is a game designed to create bleed. I just want to warn people ahead of time on that one. But it's also meant to be sort of a David Lynchian experience as well. So very interested in trying that out. So we'll see. We'll see. Just keep watching the schedule. We'll see how things progress. And we'll get on that. Of course, when the time comes to sign up for things, one can always go down and click on RPG sign up, or go to JimYesThatJim.com and click on Game sign up. As always, beginners are welcome. So when we hit the end card, where shall we go? I think so. I'll tell you what. We showed the interview, an interview with Simon, where he talked about his Witcher series, and he's running that right now. So we're gonna go over to Wandering DM and say hi. Feel free to hang on if you are so inclined, and say hi to them with us. That again will be when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and we will see you next week. Farewell.